Taps at the Montana is the 18th episode of the 6th season of Frasier. This is directed by David Lee, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. It's definitely not a bad episode, but it's certainly not one of my favourites. This one starts off with Niles and Frasier coming back from dinner. Danny and Doney were all over each other, and then it turns out Maris and her new boyfriend were there as well. So not a great experience for Niles, and Niles is just fed up of everything. He wants to go back to the Montana, and he realises that he probably can do this now, but he is subletting it. So he goes to the apartment and he's actually subletting it to Dr. MacLowery, played by Randy Doney, and Dr. MacLowery is tap dancing in the apartment, and I have to say the performance was really great. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and obviously Niles has been away for quite a while, so people come to see him, and it turns out that they're actually thinking of rescinding his lease. The board are thinking of rescinding his lease because he's apparently a nuisance tenant and has all of these parties, and it's not fair, and I also don't necessarily think it's justified. I don't feel like Niles has done anything wrong that would mean his lease should be rescinded, but obviously Niles is panicking about this, so his plan is to throw a party and make the board members change their mind, and that's the bulk of the rest of the episode. And honestly, I don't love it. I don't hate it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just found it to be a little boring. It's another one of those episodes where it's very chaotic, people are running around, everything's going wrong, and they do work well with Frasier. They do kind of find a way to balance the chaos while still making everything make sense within the context of the narrative, and that's absolutely the case here, but I just didn't necessarily find it to be the most interesting. Ultimately, what happens is that Baby, the bird, dies, and the bird is upside down on the hors d'oeuvres, which is obviously a problem, and we actually find out that the bird died not from eating the hors d'oeuvres, but from swallowing Daphne's earring. And while they try and work out what to do with the hors d'oeuvres and the bird, they decide to play murder. Niles suggests playing a murder mystery, and Roz is there. She's been roped into this, and she helps the person who has the card that says murder read the card. They haven't got their glasses, they can't see it. The lights go out. Roz is the first victim, she dies. And then the murderer is also apparently dead on the floor. Well, he is actually dead. He died in real life. Well, within the context of the episode. So that's not great, and it just seems like everything's going from bad to worse. And honestly, I didn't really get much else out of it. It's not badly done. There just isn't anything else that I found particularly interesting. There wasn't really anything that I found to be funny, apart from the ending. I did really like the ending. And this is because Roz is in the kitchen. Niles has been told that actually you can stay here. You can have your lease. You can stay in the apartment. Obviously great news for Niles. And then we see Roz going into the fridge for something, and the bird is in there. And then Niles finds out he can stay. And all we hear is Roz screaming because she's obviously turned around and witnessed the bird, which is, it's fine. I found that to be probably one of the most amusing parts because I honestly didn't expect her to scream, so quite enjoyed that. But other than that, there's not really a lot about this that I liked. Martin was being chased around the apartment by somebody who had eyes for him. That was, I guess, a little funny. But the tap dancing, I really liked the tap dancing. I definitely enjoyed that. But I just didn't get that much out of it. I feel like we have quite a lot of episodes, not a huge amount, but still a reasonable amount of episodes where we have parties in Niles' apartment, and they're usually played out in a similar manner. There's chaos in the kitchen and people in the main room don't know about it, and after a while it just gets a bit repetitive. So I didn't love it. On its own, it's not terrible, but it didn't really offer anything particularly exciting. A few good moments as mentioned, but ultimately I'd say Taps at the Montana is an okay episode of Frasier, but it's definitely not a favourite.